Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be working on a tire pressure monitoring sensor. Now this vehicle behind me is a 2015 Chevy Equinox. One of the TPMS sensors in the tire, I believe it's the left rear, has gone out. And I figured it would make a great video to show you guys how we diagnose these, how we replace them, and then how we program them. And I'm going to take you guys through the steps of this today. Now before we go ahead and begin, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below and definitely smash that like button because it helps the channel out. And with that said, let's go ahead and get started on today's video. So before we begin this job, I'm going to go over a few tools that you're going to need in order to do it. Now I will say that most of you trying to do this at home probably won't be able to just because of the equipment needed, but I still figured I would show you guys so you have a general idea. Plus, this video may help aid when a lot of people are debating how much these things cost to replace. Because I know sometimes paying the shop $100 for a sensor sometimes, plus about half an hour labor to install and program it may seem like a lot. But you will see it takes quite a bit of items to be able to do these. So first thing that you're going to need is a sensor. Now, I'm not repping this brand. This is just what my tire supplier carries. And I've used them before. They work fairly good and they're fairly reliable. Now, in addition to this, you're going to need a tire machine, which I have. It's actually facing behind the camera, so I'm not going to swing it around, but you do need a way to mount and dismount the tire. And last but not least, you're going to need a TPMS programming tool. This one is an Autel. It's specifically made for tire pressure sensors, programming them and diagnosing them. And they got a variety of different tools out there, but this is just what I have available to me, and this is what I use at my shop. So now that we have that done, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our tool. This has an option to go around and find out each and every sensor ID and figure out which sensor has failed. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now, and it's quite simple. Now, I'm not gonna go into too much of a great detail because different tire pressure monitoring computers like this have different methods. So what you want to do is just take whatever method you have and you got to figure out which one is your bad tire sensor. And that's what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to go around to each individual wheel, scan them, and see which one doesn't give me any feedback. And that way I'll know which one is not working. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now and come right back with you guys. So now we are at the affected wheel and we are on the scan a single sensor. I'm going to go ahead and hit yes and go ahead and scan it. Now, typically it takes about 5 to 10 seconds if this is near the sensor to pick up a signal. And you could literally stand here all day until this thing times out. I think it has a 90-second timeout or something, but clearly you can see it's taking a lot longer and nothing is happening. It's just scanning and not picking up anything. That tells you right away that you have a dead sensor. More than likely the battery just went out on this one and that's why it's not transmitting. So if you guys see there, it just says trigger failed, which basically means it's not getting anything back. It's sending out info to pick it up, but it's not receiving anything. So we know this tire has failed and it needs a new sensor. Now, don't just assume that if you scan one tire and it has a bad sensor that that's your problem. Sometimes you can have multiple issues. However, I have scanned all of these sensors on this vehicle and they haven't been bad. You guys can see here that I don't know what the camera's gonna pick it up. We only have one X, and if you're looking at it the right way like this, it's the left rear wheel. Every other sensor picks up pretty good and is working correctly. So that's how we know that this is our tire that we need to work on. Now that we have identified the bad sensor, what we're gonna do is go ahead and get the car on the lift, raise it up, remove the wheel, and we are going to go ahead and break it down and pretty much get it to where we could get to our sensor. Now, I'm not going to go through this step because you guys have seen me break down tires before. I made a video on how to change tires. It's pretty much going to be the same thing. You're just going to want to take your tire off. I think on this one, I'm not actually going to remove the tire all the way. I think I'm just going to basically pop the bead on both sides and use my machine to deep press it all the way down, showing us our work area. Because I would think that if you're trying to do this at home, you're probably going to take the tire off, break the bead, because there are a lot of tools out there that can break the bead on a tire without using a tire machine. And I think this is relatively the easiest way most of you can do it yourself at home without equipment. Now I have my tire on the tire machine. I just broke the bead and I'm using my tire machine here to keep the tire down. And this is the valve stem and the TPMS sensor kind of built into one. Now there's a variety of these. Sometimes they're metal stem. This one happens to be rubber. And in order to remove these, what you first got to do, now this sensor is old, it's junk, it doesn't work, so we really don't care. But we're going to have to unscrew it. They usually have a Torx screw. This one I believe is a T10. And what you're going to want to do is just go in here and unscrew it. Now you could just break the sensor. However, I'm not going to do that because, you know, it makes no sense. It doesn't take that much effort to unscrew it. It is a little bit more difficult because I haven't removed the tire. So if I had my tire off of here, this would be so much simpler. But I figure if you're doing this at home, you're trying to save a buck or two, this is probably the way that you're going to wind up doing it. Plus, if I don't have to pull off the tire all the way, I mean, I don't mind. It's not like it's that much more difficult here. At the end of the day, you will have to balance your tire because, you know, you shouldn't just be breaking your bead and not balancing it. So after I unscrewed it, I just went ahead and I took it off. This usually only goes on a certain way as far as orientation. And it looks like this one is more than likely probably the original sensor. I don't know. When it comes to Chevys and GMs, sometimes they're original, sometimes they're not. Now what I'm going to do is I'm obviously going to be replacing the stem because mine came with a new one. I'm going to be using a tool that I have here if I can get it unwedged. But basically I'm going to hook this up to the valve stem up here and pull on it, and it'll get rid of the valve stem on there. Now you should always replace the valve stem. There is no tire sensor that comes without one. If you're buying a sensor, unless that manufacturer specifically has a band one where they mount on the rim here, which sometimes is the case on some Fords, typically this is the design. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull up here, and hopefully I can get this off, because all you're supposed to do is just pry it up and out of there, just like that. So what this tool does is just basically breaks that seal and gets it out of there, which is fine because we have a new one. So let me go ahead and grab my new sensor, and we're going to grab it. Now this is what it looks like. If you're going to be installing your own sensor, you'll notice there's some information, some writing on here. It would be a good idea to take a picture of that, because sometimes some manual programmers, if you're using something like that, will require a number on here, which is basically the ID. So make sure you snap a picture of that ID barcode before you go ahead and put it in, because if you don't, sometimes you will have to wind up opening it back up just for that ID number. So just play it safe. So to reinstall it, we're going to go ahead and take off our new cap on our valve stem. And you don't have to remove the sensor for this next process because this has a rubber stem, so it should be able to slide in fairly easy. Now one thing I like to do is take some silicone lube and go ahead and hit my valve stem. It'll help slide it in there a little bit easier. And we are going to position it into our valve hole on the wheel. Thread in our specialty tool, the same one that we used to take it off. And all we're going to do is gently and very carefully pull up on it. Now sometimes it's not the easiest thing, but we'll get it in there, and just like that, it is set and is in place. So what we're going to do next is go ahead and unscrew our tool here. And when you unscrew your tool, be careful so you don't wind up hurting your valve stem there, because sometimes the pure force of pulling on it will, you know, get the threads a little bit jammed up, but should be able to pull it off fairly simply. And now that we have everything installed, we are pretty much set on the sensor. All we have to do is go ahead and aerate our tire. Now I'm going to go ahead and aerate this and balance it out really quickly, and I'll show you guys the next step using the programmer. Now we went ahead and inflated, balanced our tire. It's already mounted on the vehicle, And this is the process where it gets a little bit, I guess you can say weird or different depending on what you're using. Now, my machine, my process I'm programming is I have to go around to every tire, starting from the passenger front and then finishing off at the driver's front, scanning every single sensor ID. And after I do that, I plug into the OBD2 port of the car, and my tool will rewrite all of the sensor IDs, and therefore it'll take off the light on the dashboard. And that's how my machine does it. Yours may be different if you're doing this at home and you got a scanner. Some of them will require that ID number that you took a picture of or wrote down on the new sensor to be manually inputted by typing it in on your scan tool to hard write it into the vehicle's computer. There's a lot of different ways and methods. However, this is the method that this tool does, and this is an Autel TS508. Now, I will kind of give you guys a brief, show on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my tool ready. I got to input the car information in here. And once I do that, I'm going to go around the tire sensors, and I'll kind of give you guys a general view. On this side is where I'll position the camera, where I take a reading of the tire sensors when I'm near the end. So what I'm doing now is I've gone around through all the tires and I have copied each individual IDs, so I can just go ahead and basically reset all of them in the computer and show the car where everything is. So now that my tool has copied each individual ID, I have plugged it into my OBD2 port, and basically what I'm going to do is write that data to the TPMS computer, or the body control module typically is the one that controls the tire pressure sensing monitor system. So I've already gone ahead and already wrote that information. It took about a minute or two with this tool, and now that it's been written on there, it is pretty much all set to go, and we no longer have a tire light on. So this car is all said and done. Now, this process hasn't been the best step-by-step, and it was intended that way on purpose, mainly because this isn't a job that everyone can do in their driveway, because taking off the tire from the rim sometimes can be a pain, to say the least. And without having a scan tool like this, sometimes it can be difficult. Now, GM does have a relearn procedure for certain models where you can set it into relearn mode and then just go around each individual tire. The car will pretty much light up a light telling you program this one first, just by adding air to it and deflating it. So you can follow that, but that'll be specific for some GM models depending on your vehicle. But the overall process that we saw today is generally how it works for almost any manufacturer. I don't want to just focus on GM on this one. This is how all TPMS sensors initially work. This is how the system is designed. So basically this will apply to almost any car out there, but on GMs there are certain ways for you to program certain models without needing a scanner. All you would have to do is replace the sensor. So all in all, that is how you replace a TPMS sensor and program it. Now, even though I went specific to this Equinox in the video because that's the car that we're doing it on, this is a general overview how it works for pretty much any car out there. And that's the takeaway I want to give you guys in this video. It's not just me focusing on this car. Unfortunately, this is the car that needed it today, so that's what I'm using as a reference. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please comment, like, and subscribe because it definitely helps the channel grow. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.